My 2024 Tacoma Trailhunter is a trail-ready truck, but some of the included accessories aren't exactly what I would call useful. The ARB Sport Bar may look cool to some, but it's certainly not my cup of tea, and I need a functional rack for the bed so I can get out and test this truck in its stock form. And I think I've found exactly what I'm looking for.
Hey, I'm Tyler, this is Independence Overland, and I have been working on getting this Trailhunter ready to go and do some actual trips, because the truck itself comes pretty outfitted. I've done tons of videos on the new Tacoma, so if you want any information about the truck itself, I will link some of those maybe in the description, because there are quite a few that I've done. The truck itself is ready to go, especially for most people. I think it could use a little more height, but we'll deal with that in the future. But aside from that, the rack that the Trailhunters come with is not the rack of my dreams, I can tell you that much. This winter is gonna be a better time for me to tackle the big stuff on this truck, and it is gonna be some big stuff. It's gonna blow you guys away. For the time being, I needed a way to camp out of this thing. So Küat was awesome enough to send me a rack for this truck. It's from Springfield, Missouri, where I actually moved to Colorado from. So I think that's kind of cool. And the thing I like about their kit as well, compared to some of the other options out there, I like that their kit is whatever height you want it to be. So this can be a mid-height rack, this can be a full height rack, and there's other modularity with it as far as accessories and things that you can get for it. So for the last several days, I've spent like an hour after work every night just kind of putting this thing together. It doesn't take that much time, but with the channel and with my day job, I don't have very much free time. So I think all in all, it took me 2 hours to fully put this thing together, and I still have some panels and stuff that we're gonna put on today. So I wanted to do an overview today of how this thing looks, how it goes together and all that. And then I will do a review in 3 or 4 months once I've actually used it quite a bit, because I do plan on using it quite a bit. We're late into the season here in Colorado, but this truck is here and I need to get out and use the thing, and so I've got time to make up for. So we're gonna be doing some stuff with it. So some of these panels I left off so I could show you guys how this thing is formed, and pretty much everything is aluminum. The cross rails are, tons of T-slot everywhere. I mean, they've got options to put things everywhere. And then once I put this together at the end of this, I'm gonna share something with you that's really cool that I'm not personally gonna be using, but I do think it's an awesome option for somebody getting something like this, because they really did make this into a kit where you can build on it. And I think it's pretty cool. So we'll get to that here shortly. So just for assembly purposes, I put these cross rails where they go from the factory. I do have a riser kit for these cross rails because I need to get the alu cab hopefully up over my roof rack. I'm really hoping it'll clear. I have no idea. With these new trucks, even the manufacturers aren't totally clear on how much height you're getting. So I'm hoping I can keep the Toyota roof rack on for a little while. I was planning on taking that off, but things didn't line up. So for now, I need to use that Toyota roof rack, and I'm hoping the alu cab will fit over the top of it, because I'm an alu cab fan, as you guys know, so that's what I'm gonna be running. My first impressions with this rack is it is very easy to assemble. I mean, it's foolproof. There are great instructions in every box. You basically take a picture of a QR code and it sends you to where the instructions are. It's very straightforward. So every one of these different kits, they send tools to install everything. So you have all your Allen wrenches, and they even send an Allen wrench impact driver that has kind of a wobble on the end of it. So for you guys that might be new to this and putting things together, they say use an impact driver, not an impact wrench. They're talking about basically like a drill for running stuff into a wall or something like that. They're not talking about an impact, like putting a tire on. So I saw that in there and I was like, oh, I could see people misreading that or misunderstanding what they're saying. You don't ever want to do that with aluminum. You will strip out threads. I mean, these are pretty big bolts and it's got some pretty big threads. but still, you don't want to do that. I just wanted to mention that for anybody that might be newer. And so something else that's really cool about this kit is the hardware for the bed, because your hardware is exposed back here. It is tamper proof. So all of these Allens and stuff have a special little notch in them. I forget what it's actually called. I've got tools in my toolbox that are just like this, but it's a tamper proof style. So if somebody just had a big Allen wrench, they can't necessarily come up and just dismantle your rack and take it off. So I'm telling you that the mounting hardware for this, the construction of this thing, the instructions, everything on it is really solid. I mean, it's very easy to understand. And this is a, oh, I don't have these tightened, actually, that's a bad example. But this is a very solid rack. I think it's rated for 1,200 pounds is what it says inside of the manual. So it's plenty stout for what I'm gonna need it for. I gotta get this thing put together and then take this down to Goose Gear tomorrow, because they're gonna do some prototype work on the rear seat delete. So I'm excited about that. So today we're gonna get the accessory panels put on this thing, the handle put on this thing. They even sent me a bottle opener. It's so weird for me to even think about camping away from the FJ, because it's kind of like, it's so familiar. It's been a spot that I've camped out of, a vehicle that I've camped out of. I know where everything is. And there's a whole new learning curve to this. A truck bed is just a totally different thing. So I'm excited though to try it out, get on the trails, and just have some fun with a completely different vehicle. So again, real quick, just the way they designed some of this, the way it has cutouts just for the tool, this just makes it super easy to put together and pull apart. And the other thing that I was mentioning before is you see this piece right here, and I've still got mine all labeled up, but this is slightly different colored right here, and these panels are actually for different height racks. So if you want mid-height rack, you can do that, and it's a fully adjustable system. So I do think that that is pretty cool. Everything's really simple. As I was saying, there's 2 bolts here, 2 bolts here. There are cover plates for this. I just left these panels off so I could show you guys how this all goes together. But once you put these on, I mean, it is a super clean look. And I have to say that this rack with the Trailhunter and the black fenders and stuff, it looks really good. Right away when I did this, some of my buddies were even like, man, that truck looks a lot better without the Trailhunter rack that was of course useless. So I'm gonna put this together. I'm not gonna mount the tent yet because I do have to wait for some work to be done from Goose Gear, and potentially some PPF is getting put onto the doors, because scratching it right away, I was just like, man, maybe I shouldn't do that with a truck this expensive. All right, so let's get to work and accessorize this thing. I put these cross rails on just to lift this thing onto the truck, and now I'm gonna set up my cross rail risers. So these cross rails have like a friction lock up here that's different colored so you can tell which one it is. So whenever you get this out of the box and you start adjusting it for what you want, these are expandable, and so this whole rack can spread out and mount to different truck types. There's a Tacoma specific mounting kit, and then there's another kit that looks like it'd work in any other truck because it's just like a standard hook style. So that's pretty cool. These rails mount straight in to the side. And I'm gonna spread these out pretty far as I can. So as you can see, they start like this, and I mean, you can really expand this. And the kit comes with plenty of T-nuts, that is for sure. I mean, you can mount anything, anywhere on this. There is T-slot, 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 2 sections of T-slot on every corner of this thing, and it's big T-slot, so you can mount some serious stuff. And then when I get the tent on top of this, I will have to make some adjustments, but that's okay. So if you're mounting this cross rail into just the standard T-slot, it takes 1 kind of on the end where I just pulled it from, and if you're mounting on risers, then it takes 2. So I'm going to adjust these risers. I'm gonna try to get these as far apart as possible just for the most rigidity on the tent. And then I'm sure when I get the actual tent on, I'm gonna have to make a few adjustments, but for now, that's how I'm gonna do it. They sent me a bunch of extra T-nuts, so I think what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna put 4 in here and just lock them down. I'll get a washer or something, and I'll do that on both sides. And my reasoning for that is so if I end up wanting to strap something in here or on this side or something like that, then there'll be no problem doing that. And I've got T-nuts sitting where I could actually use them, and I don't have to dismantle everything to get to them. So it's just a little bit of forethought. So I'm just gonna put them here for now, and I'll deal with anchoring them down here in a bit. So you can buy cross rail risers from them, and you get a pack of 2 of them. So you get these bolts, the bolts that hold this to the actual rail, and then you don't get more cross rails. It's just a riser set. Or you can get the cross rail riser kit, which comes with this molly panel. And my first thought with this is that would be a good spot to put a propane tank, because I could mount it right there, and then I've got a hose that's long enough to where it'd be perfect to reach in here and turn my propane on, and it'd make it easy to get to, it'd make it kind of out of the way. So a propane mount right here, maybe like a recovery strap or something, I don't know. You could even put, actually you could put max tracks in here. It'd make it a little harder to get to for you, but it would also make it harder to get to for like a thief or something. In the cross rail riser kit, it comes with this, and I believe you can buy it separate as well. So they did that partially too because you need more rigidity back here, and so it helps stabilize the whole thing. But this is a very solid rack, and I love that this thing has tamper-proof hardware everywhere. Very nice. All this T-slot, very nice. And I did tighten these down with a washer, the washers that are included with the T-nut kits. So those tighten down, no problem, and hopefully they don't loosen up. I'll check them over time. So I do have molly panels that are going on the sides of this, so having these set in here, I could even get D-rings that are the same thread, put those in there potentially, and then I could lash stuff. I mean, I could even lash stuff to the bottom of the tent. You could really dive into customizing the living hell out of this thing. This is pretty cool. I'm pretty sure that this is just slightly higher than this Toyota roof rack, and I hope I'm right. It should be fine. And the alu cab portion of the mounts, I believe, set up just slightly higher as well, because I need that to just barely clear this. So anyway, I think this is gonna work pretty good for exactly what I need it for. They sent me a grab handle, which looks like it'll work anywhere except for the cross rails. I'm gonna put mine right here because I already know how this is gonna go for me. I'm gonna come back here to set up the tent, and honestly, having something like this, since the Tacoma doesn't have a step, I'm gonna have to put the tailgate down, and then being able to just hoist myself up and open that is gonna be great. This is gonna be perfect for what I am needing here. Okay, so what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna put an Allen in there, let that nut fall on it, if I can hold it in long enough. Ooh, I don't know if that's gonna work either, because this one nut wants to fall. There we go. Think? Yeah, okay. That was the most challenging part of this whole rack. So of course, accessorizing this thing to its full potential is making something out of this space right here. And you can do a lot of different stuff with this. Again, it's got T-slot here on the inside in two different places. Every single rail has 2 slots of T-slot. So I should add that the T-slot on this stuff is all very substantial. It's a big bolt, it's a big T-nut. The stuff you'd build like a refrigerator cabinet out of, that is very light duty T-slot, as this is heavy duty stuff. So if you wanted to mount things under here, it is plenty strong to do that. So what they also offer are different molly panels. You can do these little panels that they fit on the inside, and then you bolt them up, or you can get a large panel, which I will probably not be able to do from here, but you can do this on both sides, or you can choose how you want to configure this. And all of these little parts are extra. This doesn't all come included in a kit. So I have 1 full-size molly panel, and then I have 3 of the little guys. I'm not sure which side I'm gonna put which on yet. I'll think about that here in a minute. So I'm gonna use these ones to mount max tracks. And the reason for that is because then it'll kind of block off my truck bed a little bit to where sticky fingers won't find their ways into any of my stuff. It won't totally block theft out, but it'll make it harder to reach in and grab stuff. So one side will be like that, and then the other side will be completely blocked in with this. The rear is gonna be exposed. There's not much I can do about that. But the tailgate on these is electronic, so it does lock. So that is one benefit of having the electronic tailgate on these new Tacomas. For the sake of this video, I'm gonna put these on that side, and I'm gonna put the big one on this side. So I've seen Küat stuff everywhere. I mean, they make bike racks, and they have for a very long time. So I guarantee you've seen one on the back of somebody's car. And so they're very familiar with doing aluminum structures like this. This is nothing new to them. Küat's been doing this stuff for a very long time. So some of the products that they actually make for these is you can, of course, mount your bike off the back of the truck like you normally would, but they also make systems to where you can mount it off the side of this. And I believe it's without the molly panel too. I would imagine with that much weight, you're gonna mount it into the T-slot. So you can literally have a bike mounted on both sides of this thing, and it's designed to work that way. So for you guys that are mountain bikers, that might be useful information to you, because you'd have a bike here, a bike over there if you don't want it on the back, so you can still get into the truck bed and get to your fridge or get to whatever you need. I'm not mounting max tracks just yet on anything, because this has to go down to the city of Grand Junction to get some work done. I have to say this Küat Ibex kit looks a lot better on the Trailhunter than the the quote unquote mullet bar, the bed rack bar, whatever you want to call it, the sport bar. I was not a fan of that. I left it on because it's a trail hunter. It came with it. I want to see if it grew on me or anything. And it's kind of, I mean, it kind of looks cool in a way. I get it from one angle, but it's just useless. Okay, so they sent me a little bottle opener too. And you guys know from my videos that I'm no stranger to having a beer at camp. So I'm going to put it on there. And that's easier to mount than the handle was, which the handle took me all of 5 minutes, but compared to everything else, it took more time. Cool. So that's easy. So Küat sent me also an antenna mount, and this is for like a CB antenna. I don't know if there's enough material on this to turn this into an NMO, like drill it out a little bit bigger. I don't know if it has the surface area for that, but it looks like it's intended to mount just like that. I guess I could mount it. No, that wouldn't work. I think this is just intended for this rail down here. And then of course it comes with a T-nut. I'm not gonna mount that right now because I need to do some work on the radio setup and I don't know where I'm gonna route that to. That may actually end up being on the roof rack, but I need to get the 10 on and figure all that stuff out first. So I'm gonna hold off on that. But I have a whole ton of T-nuts left, but we're done. That's everything. I'm so happy to have the Trailhunter rack off of this. So I don't know about you guys, but I think that this is one of the better looking bed racks for the 4th gen Tacoma. I think it just goes with the lines and stuff of it better because even these angles, quite honestly, go really nicely with the fenders because of the shape. Like if you were to take this and put it next to the fender, it actually matches quite well. So just the way that they formed this thing, I think it looks fantastic. So I can't tell for sure, but I'm pretty positive that this is like, it's a small amount, but I'm pretty sure that these are slightly higher than that Toyota roof rack, which is very good news for me. So I was originally gonna take the Toyota roof rack off right away, but I have to utilize it for various reasons. But the Küat rack with the risers does look like it goes up to where it'll just be high enough to where the tent can clear. I may end up just taking the alu cab off the FJ and putting it on here for a while so we can actually get out and go camping. So I'm very appreciative to Küat for getting me one of these really quick because like I said, I need to get out and make content on this thing because it is good for the channel. It's a new truck, not that many people have them yet. So I want to utilize this thing. And so I was very happy that they were willing to work with me. And this thing will be at the Goose Gear booth at the Overland Expo Mountain West. And so if you want to come and check this thing out in person, I think it looks great with this rack. Hopefully by then I'll have some bigger tires and stuff on it. And so I will have some stuff mounted up on this the next time you see it and it will be ready to go. And I'm hoping to get this out camping soon, finally, but it still needs to go down and get some work done from Goose Gear. And I'm going to get some PPF on the door so I cannot scratch it up and care that I scratched up such an expensive truck. I need to take better care of this one. So I will do an actual review after several months of use, and I'll put this out on the trails, washboard roads. We'll see if anything loosens up and stuff like that. It's smart to go through and tighten everything up probably at least once a year. So I told you at the beginning of this video that there is a big feature on this kit that I think is super cool. They have recently released a kit that's about the same cost as this is, but it's an add-on, it's an upgrade. So if you run this kit like this and you want an open bed system, and then in the future you decide you want a camper shell and you wish you would have done something like that, they actually make a kit now that installs onto this, puts a roof on it and everything, and it turns it into a traditional camper shell sort of a thing. And with that, you get gull wing doors with struts and everything. I was checking it out online. Honestly, if you buy something like this and you're excited about your new truck and you're like me and you're just wanting to get out and use the thing, and then a year, 2 years down the road, you're like, man, it sure would have been nice if I would have sealed this thing off. Maybe I wish I would have spent my money on something else. The fact that you can get windows for this to seal this off to some degree, I mean, that's a pretty cool add-on that you can get if you ask me. I think that that is a pretty awesome feature. So next up, I need to mount some stuff to this. I need to get a tent on this, and I need to take this thing out camping because I have not been able to utilize it. I'm waiting for pieces of the puzzle to fit in together, but I want to go and shoot some really cool stuff with this thing, and I will let you guys know in my review here in the future of what I think of this thing, how everything worked out, and I'm sure I'll go over some of it as time goes on. You'll see how I've outfitted it, and it's going to be a fun project. So if you guys are new to the channel, I do have more videos on the Trailhunter I've already done, and then there will be more coming, and please go and check out some of my travel content on the main YouTube page. Those travel videos are my favorite thing to make, so go check some of those out, and there will be more with the Trailhunter very soon. All right, so thank you, Küat, for sending this thing out. I am so appreciative of people like you that are willing to work with me on projects like this. I really mean that. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching, and until next time.
As always, thank you so much for watching, and click one of the videos in the corner to check out more of our adventure, off-road, and overland related content.